Getting tired of just using dumbbells, easy bar curls, and straight bar curls for bicep growth? While these exercises are almost essential to grow your bicep, you also need to add in a little bit of cable exercises to help with your development. Today I'm going to show you 3 different cable exercises to help you develop the size, strength, and just overall bigger biceps. Stay tuned. First exercise, you got 2 different options. You can either use the rope, you can use the straight bar. Both are gonna give you just a tad bit of a different feeling. The rope, you're gonna be able to do certain things that you're not gonna be able to do with the bar. I'll break that down for you once we go over the rope. Biggest thing with either exercise, whether you're using the rope, whether you're using the bar, you have to make sure that your elbow position, your shoulder position, and your overall body position is correct, or you're just gonna completely miss the mark on your bicep curl. So if I'm using the rope to try and maximize just the basic curl, I want to make sure that the position that I have between myself and the cable and the rope is going to allow my arms to reach a full extension. So I don't want to keep my arms all the way here and tight. That way when I'm dropping right here, the stack is touching. I want to make sure that the stack is never touching during the set. That way I can keep the tension fully on my bicep. So if I just take one small step back here, as soon as I pull up, coming up to the top position, I can reach a full range right before the stack touches. That's gonna help me maximize this exercise off rip. Obviously, we're using the cable machine, so that's gonna help you keep more tension on the bicep in general. But the other thing that you have to watch out for when you're using either the rope or the straight bar is your elbow position and your shoulder position. So a lot of times when we get tired, start shrugging our shoulders upwards to help move the weight. So obviously, the weight is moving up as I'm shrugging, but all the tension is just coming off of my bicep. So if I'm not using the right weight, I'm already just gonna miss the mark off rip when I'm doing these, because my front delta, my shoulder is gonna take over if I'm shrugging up and down. I'm trying to work these other body parts just to move the weight up and down, and it's not gonna benefit your development in the targeted muscle group. So when I come over here, I wanna make sure that my elbows are locked down in position, my shoulders don't shrug up, and when I come up, I'm not yanking it all the way up to almost when it hits my face. The thing you can do differently with the rope that you can't do with the bar, you can put your hands in 2 different positions. So it almost resembles a narrow grip position when you're here. You can come up and keep your hands here and come down and back up. Or when I get to the top, I can separate my hands. The separation is just gonna help you hit that peak of your bicep a little bit more. That's all you're doing. You're just trying to reach as much of a supinated position as you can. Obviously, because you have your palms facing inward, you're not gonna fully be able to extend that pinky all the way to the outside of your shoulder, but pulling them apart and rotating your hands outward is gonna get you a little bit more tension on your bicep than it would if you weren't doing that. Now, when I'm using a regular straight bar, I'm using the same cues. The only difference is, obviously, I'm using the bar instead of the rope, so my palms are facing outward. That's gonna already hit your bicep a little bit differently than the rope because your hands are kind of in that hammer curl position. Once I got the bar, now we're back to that basic curl position. So my palms are gonna be facing outwards, gonna hit that bicep muscle a little bit differently. So I'm using those same cues with the regular bar. So I'm making sure that my elbows aren't up against my body right here. That's whenever you're doing a bicep curl, whether that's with cable, whether that's with dumbbells, whether that's with the easy bar, whether that's with the easy bar or a straight bar. You want to make sure that your elbows are not resting on your body. You got them slightly pushed forward. That way, when you come back down, you're taking some of that tension off of your front delt and putting all of that tension on your bicep, making the set a little bit more difficult. And same thing with my shoulders. I'm not rolling my shoulders up here to assist me to use the weight, not momentum swinging it to pump it up the whole time. I'm making sure that everything is stable, locked down in position, so I can keep tension on the bicep the entire set. Let's go on to the next one. If you don't take the time to work the smaller muscle groups in your body, bicep, tricep, all of those secondary muscle groups that you use when you're doing, you're hitting tricep when you're doing chest, you're hitting a little bicep when you're doing back. You still need to take the time to develop those muscle groups. If you're not separating them, at least adding in at least 2 or 3 different exercises after your back day or after your shoulder day to work those smaller muscle groups, they're not gonna get developed the way that they should. I mean, it's just like any other muscle group in your body. You gotta work it, you gotta use different angles, different pieces of equipment, different intensities to shock the muscle group so it will grow and develop. All right, second exercise is the drag curl. So Had some people in on my comment section when I did a short on this one, which I thought was pretty funny. So I decided to throw this one in for the cable. Is basically you're hitting that bicep muscle just a little bit differently by pulling your elbows back towards the back of your body. So it's not an exercise that you need a lot of weight for, because you're really trying to concentrate on the tension in your bicep. And if you're doing this exercise wrong, you're just gonna end up working the front delt really well. So let me show you a couple cues to go through it. So the first thing that's gonna be different about this than the basic curl. The basic curl, I kind of want to take a little step back. The drag, I want to step up a little bit closer to it. So I really just want this cable to run up and down my body in a straight line up and down. That way I can pull my elbows backwards, put tension on my bicep, and then come back down. So that's the biggest thing between this exercise and the basic curl. You just want to be in a little bit different body positions, a little bit up more on the cable. And of course, when I'm pulling my elbows back, I don't want to shrug up. I want to make sure that the elbow is the emphasis and the point of going back towards my body. Then I get that tension right in the middle of my bicep. And then I'm fighting gravity all the way back down to the bottom using the full range of motion. The stack doesn't touch. And then I return right back up, cutting it short right before the bar hits my chest, and then coming right back down. Consistency is one of the biggest ingredients when you're trying to see changes in the gym. Whenever I'm like scrolling through my timeline on Instagram, it's like, you know, some good information, some bad information, but the overall is consistency. I mean, you can look for shortcuts, you can look for different ways to try to accelerate the process, but the reality of it is if you're not showing up consistently every single week and giving your best effort, trying to get the most effective reps that you can, you're not gonna see changes. You can't come in here for 2 weeks and then take a 1 week hiatus, come back for another week and a half, take another 2 week hiatus. It's not gonna help you see changes. And I see that a lot of times with the people, you know, around the gym that I talk to, like, hey man, you know, this and that or whatever. And it's like, yeah, well, I haven't seen you in like 2 weeks. So I'm sure it is pretty difficult to put on muscle because you're not coming in, you're not showing up consistently. It takes a lot of reps to be able to figure out and know your body, where you need to put your hand position, where your elbow position. It might not mirror mine exactly. Your elbows might need to be pushed a little bit more forward than mine when we're doing a basic curl because of your height. Maybe you're shorter than me, maybe you're taller than me, maybe your arms are a little bit longer. All of those things are things that you're only gonna figure out by doing, not by sitting on the couch, not by skipping gyms in the day. You have to put your reps in to learn your body and know what your body needs to develop and grow. So we hit the bicep muscle and kind of like the hammer curl position. We've hit in the basic curl position. We've even thrown in a little bit different of a movement than I'm sure that you're used to when you're hitting your biceps. Now I can't let you guys get out of here without hitting a little bit of your forearm while you hit your bicep. So the last exercise we're gonna go through is a really simple one, and it's just the reverse curl. But I guarantee you, if you take this exercise and you use it with the cable, your forearms and your biceps will be on fire, especially to top off any arm day, any of your arm exercises, bicep workouts, whatever you want to call them at the end of your workout. So I can make sure I got my hands right in the middle. And I chose a section of the bar that I'm gonna commit to. So now I'm really just using those same principles I was with the basic curl. I wanna make sure that my elbow position is stable and locked into place. I wanna make sure that my shoulders are not rolling up and I'm not using momentum to swing it. So if I'm just pulling this all the way up here to a position where I can get some tension in my forearm, in my bicep, mostly my forearm, and I'm dropping down fighting gravity, using the full range of motion, the stack doesn't touch, and I'm coming back down, I'm using the full range of motion and come right back down. So it's that simple, it's that easy to put some more tension in your forearm, get a little growth in your forearm while you're hitting your bicep. Put this in at the back of your bicep workout, your arm day, whatever you want to call it. I guarantee you that you will start to see changes in development, not only in your bicep, but also in your forearms as well. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more like this in the future, make sure you drop a comment in the comment section. And don't you get out of here without hitting that subscribe button and notification button to make sure that you are up to date on any further videos that I drop on the future. See you next time.